All right, welcome in. Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Southeast Termite and Pest Control. Ants, mosquitoes, carpenter bees, termites. I hate them all. They're the critters that annoy you, they sting you, they bite you, they infiltrate your home, or they destroy your home in the case of carpenter bees and termites. There's no reason not to kill them. Southeast Termite and Pest Control can kill them, and that's what I call them for. Hey, I've got something, I want you to kill it. They do a great job. They do a tremendous job. One, they are always responsive. Two, you got all kinds of plans that you can take care of to keep these guys wiped out. I've done their mosquito plan in the past. Fantastic. Everything they do is family pride. The Haynes family opened this business in 1971. They've been doing it for more than 50 years, and they've been doing it well. I believe in these guys. SoutheastTermite.com to book them for your home or your business, your property. All right. Let's take a look. Worst losses since 1999. I didn't go all the way back through time. I just thought, let's look at the last 25 years. All right. The 2022 loss to Notre Dame in the Super Regional. That has to go up there. That was a big upset loss. Bad. Oh, the 2001 loss to LSU in the SEC Championship game when you had a shot at going to another BCS title game. It was all there. Everyone was thinking it was Rose Bowl time. That was the other thing that was special. It would be in the Rose Bowl. Now, men's basketball is there. Look, you were only a 4 seed in 1999, but that was a 30-point loss to Steve Alford in what was then Southwest Missouri State. That was awful. In 2018, you were a 3 seed that lost to 11 seed Loyola Chicago. You were without Kyle Alexander, but still. And in 2022, you were a 3 seed that lost to 11 seed Michigan in the NCAA tournament. Bob, where would a Tennessee loss today to Evansville rank on this list? Or do you go past this
Slight
list?
cavalierising.
Okay.
I will go past the list.
I know you.
I will say that if
learning
you
some
lose to
things.
Evansville today, that it will be the worst loss in UT sports history. Not because of the level of interest in the sport, but simply because you're number one, Evansville came in as nothing, and for you to lose, I mean, I think number one on that list for sure, but I think if you go back through Tennessee sports history, a lot of upsets, a lot of those upsets though were when Tennessee, they weren't that great. They weren't ranked number one.
Yeah.
The only thing I can come up with, Memphis beating Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's the only thing.
That
But other than
96,
that,
96.
Yep.
yeah, that's outside of your window. So to me, it would be there possibly the number one worst loss in your athletic department history.
Well, that's grim. Okay.
Well, we've
Where are we
already.
going? Where does it rank? I mean, do you guys go off this 25?
No.
Or would it be in this
No,
25?
we've already touched on one very disturbing stat to me, is that the number one overall seed versus the number 16 had been 30-0 until the game yesterday.
And that's just one game.
And that's just
yeah.
one game. I mean, that's not the series. That's
Yeah,
one
lose the
game.
whole series to 'em.
So then, if you lose back to back, and I think it would be one of, and I think you're going to agree. I don't want to steal your thunder. but
Number 2.
it would be one of the biggest upsets, not just in UT, but the history of college baseball.
So they were the 4 seed in the 16 regional at East Carolina. So to me, they're the 64th of the 64.
Yeah, last team in, technically.
It would be really tough for me to look at a team who lost 10 and 12 at one point in time this year, who came into Lindsey Nelson Stadium and won back-to-back, or beat Tennessee back-to-back games as the number 1 overall seed. But boys, I was sitting there with 3 of my best friends who had roses in their mouth in 2001 in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And I watched Matty Mock go, he's going to run the football. And Tennessee was just like, I don't know, what's going on?
We'll run the Prowler. That'll
boys.
stop
Prowler
them.
will stop it.
Yeah, it's 2001 because look, football is football. You could have gone to the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy. Nobody was allowed to be there except Big Ten and the Pac-10, Pac-12. Look, I know it's football because not to be a prisoner of the moment though, John, boys, they lose today, and look, you know, I'm a guy chained to Vegas. It will be the largest upset in NCAA baseball financial history if it happens.
That's what VSiN said earlier.
VSiN on the drive-in,
Network,
VSiN Network.
And here's the only reason I
Tennessee's
disagree.
minus
Here's the only
560
reason I
today.
disagree with that is because at least LSU won. We didn't know it at the time, but you had maybe the greatest coach in history.
Sure.
2, you were an SEC team.
Right.
And you were a good enough SEC team to make it to the SEC championship game.
That's who you lost to, you mean? Yeah.
So to me, That, yes, it was a huge upset. It was horrible in the biggest sport that you got on your campus.
Right.
But it wasn't Evansville.
This would be
Well,
the equivalent.
I think we're selling
Let me get a
elements
word
of
in on my own
short.
show
All
for a
right,
second.
all right.
This would be the equivalent, and then you can jump in. This would be the equivalent of Maryland, Baltimore County,
Yeah,
who beat Virginia,
Yeah.
beating them twice in a row.
well,
And taking a 2 out of 3 series. That's what this would be the equivalent of.
And Farley
It'd be the
Dickinson.
number one versus a 64.
And Farley
Yeah,
Dickinson,
who did Farley Dickinson
Purdue.
knock out? Purdue,
Purdue.
that's right.
Yeah.
I think the Virginia thing was more
Well,
like
I
it because
do
Virginia was
too.
number one in the country when
I
they did
do
it.
too.
And the number one overall seed.
Right.
But
So that was 64 versus 1, basically. Chuck, go.
I just think we're selling this Evansville team short. They've already gone.
Here we go.
They've already gone on the road and won a region horn. They're behind 4-2 in the championship game, the elimination
You're
game.
right.
They
It'd be a
scored
good
4
loss.
runs to get here.
It'd be a proud
Here's
loss.
the
Right.
problem. There are a lot of people out here who are comparing this Evansville team to what Notre Dame was back in 2022 because they all have degrees and they're all 24 and 25 years of age. That Notre Dame team had no business coming to Knoxville. We can argue about kicking dead horses, whatever, from 22. Notre Dame should have been hosting their own super regional. They were a better team. They were a good team. They came in. Look, you can call it a choke job because of how great that Tennessee baseball team was. Let's give Notre Dame their flowers. They were very
We're
good
getting way
that
off
year.
topic now. All right. I would say this, though, in terms of the bad thing for if this one counts as a loss, it's amplified by that Notre Dame.
Yes.
That's the
True.
problem.
Yes.
It's too quick
And-
on the tails of you just
Very fair.
did this.
Right.
You just were number one,
And-
and then you didn't get to the World Series and you lost at home.
And
that makes it worse because it's twice in 3 years.
And you know that thought was going through the minds of a lot of fans in the stands too yesterday.
My concern is it going through the thoughts of any of the players?
Tony
That's my
Vitello
concern.
said yesterday, it's for everybody. Yeah, there are going to be some people on social, I'm paraphrasing, there are going to be some people on social media spitting venom. I'll leave that to them. We'll handle what we need to handle. We'll let them do that, which tells me is that Tony V may be tipping off saying, I know some people are wanting to bring back the eerie nightmares of 22. Don't do that.
Yeah, maybe I would. In terms of
if
I were a fan and I've now got a baseball team to pull
Sure.
for, I think I'd give them a little more slack before I started spitting venom.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, all right. When we come back after yesterday's loss, let's spit some venom. Let's bring Vince back out here. When we come back after yesterday's loss, I got a text from a buddy comparing Tony Vitello to Rick Barnes in terms of postseason. I thought maybe it's a little soon. We'll see if anybody here agrees with that. Is that going to start up? If the Vols lose today, are we going to start hearing Tony can't get it done in June? Come on back on the Sports Source.